Welcome to Sewing Out Loud, the official podcast of Zede Sewing Studio. Here are your hosts, Zede and Mallory.
Sewing Out Loud. Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm Mallory Donahue.
And I'm Zede Donahue.
And we apologize if the sound quality of this podcast is maybe a little different than our others, because we're broadcasting from our very, very, very clean studio.
Right,
now.
So we don't have, there's like no sound buffers anymore. It's just clean.
You just walk up here and it's echoey and
bright and light. And there's lights on every sewing surface, or every like work surface has light going to it.
I came up here at like 5 a.m. the other morning because the studio is connected to my bedroom. And I just couldn't sleep, and I thought, I'll get up, and so I brought the baby monitor in here.
It's actually connected to your closet.
Right. But
it's connected to your bedroom. Yes.
Thanks. Okay.
I just thought it would be weird to put that out there to people. They'd think that it's the house that who built.
Yeah. There are two closet buffers, right?
Yes.
I think we mentioned
Actually, it does. It has the costume, so it's the studio, the costume closet, and then your closet, and then your bedroom.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
it's a labyrinth.
What was I saying?
You came up at 5:30 in the morning.
At 5 in the morning.
Oh, 5.
Okay. And
Give her the benefit. It's 5,
come
not
on.
5:30.
Hello.
5.
Hello.
5.
A podcaster I listen to gets up at 4:15.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's 4:15, it's not 4. I like to not sound so weird. And I'm like, okay. So I came up here at 5. I just came right over, like in my PJs, right? And I turned on the lights and I couldn't open my eyes.
Because it was so bright.
For like 45 seconds. I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, I can't look anywhere. Like it was
Well,
so bright.
So we wouldn't have to do like excess wiring, which, I mean, okay, my husband and I built this room anyway, so there's lots of wiring because he's sort of an electrical freak. He has to have plugs every 6 feet, no matter how big the room is or whatever. So when we turn on the overhead lights, we also turn on all of these task lights, and they're just on one switch. So
Okay.
there we go.
So that was one of the most recent things to happen in the studio. But let's rewind. Okay. Let's rewind to 15 months ago or whatever.
You mean when I lost my garage?
Yes. When you lost your garage, when we moved the studio, when we moved a whole 2,500 square foot store back here.
Back into like 300 square feet, I guess. 300 or 400 square feet.
We did, of course, sell a lot of things in the store, right?
We did.
But there's still a lot of like fabric and a lot of samples and a lot of things we weren't sure we would use or not, or cutting tables.
And it wasn't like the space was empty that we moved stuff
No.
into, because we already had machines here.
That's right.
And all the work. I mean, a lot of the supplies became duplicated because we had the same thing in the home studio as we had in the
triplicated.
Triplicate.
I like the word triplicate. So
triplicate. Triplicated.
Or like we sextuplicated, like things like, how many rotary cutters are in? How many?
Oh,
everyone.
No, that would be called.
How many? How many rotary cutters? Wait, dear sewing machine, you listener, how many rotary cutters do you have? Okay, think about that number. How many rotary cutters do we have, Mom?
At least 20.
There's got to be 20 rotary cutters
20.
in here.
And that's just the 45 millimeter ones. I'm not even counting like the 18 millimeter and the 60 millimeter one. Like
Sam is sitting across the table from us, and we might work Sam to the bone sometimes, but we do give her cool sewing stuff. And how many rotary cutters did we give you? Like, do we need to give you some?
Did you get that other box that was over in the
I think
gym?
so.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
So Sam, I believe, has at least one rotary cutter, right?
How about rulers? How many rulers do we have?
Oh, I did acquire a new ruler.
I did give
How
Sam
many
a new
rulers
ruler.
do we have in the studio? Don't count the curves, just the rulers. How many rulers do you think we have?
15.
Okay. How many curves do you think we have? All the curves.
6, 8.
I say 8.
8.
I bet 8.
Yeah.
So you don't need to have this many things. We don't need to have this many things. But we had the studio where we would teach classes, and,
Right.
we would have to have 8 rotary cutters, or we'd have to have, all these things or whatever. And
I
rotary...
can also, where I'm sitting, see 6 sewing machines.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6
1,
plugged in.
2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 7. 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 7.
Those
Those are the ones I can see.
Okay, so and we're not like bragging. We're not bragging.
We're just trying to convince you we have a problem with volume.
We had a lot of shit to go through, and it took us a long time, and that's why it took us this long. Okay, so we're trying to kind of make an excuse here.
And we were still trying to work for all of you and make sure you got your podcast and all that.
So we have all this stuff, and there was a bunch of fabric, like some in totes and everything. So what's the first thing when we started to do this cleanup last week, Mom?
What was the first thing?
What was like the first thing we did? Was it this table kind of Oh, you know what, Mom? Give me a moment.
Oh, Mallory's going to go like, actually, what I said was,
yes, okay.
Let's just not talk about this because I don't want a pile of crap turning into another pile of crap in another place. We need to decide what needs to be done. And not only that, we need to choreograph it. Like what needs to be moved before this can be moved here and this can be moved there.
So in my hot little hands I have here, can you hear it? Okay, this is our little page ripped off of a yellow legal pad, and it was our choreography. And it was so helpful, wasn't it, Mom?
Yes.
Because we would say, oh, what's next in the choreography?
That's right.
What can we do next? What can we do without Mom? Like, if Sam and I got up here before you, or you had an appointment, there were like a couple days where you weren't here right away, and we would say, what's next on the choreography? Right. What can we do? So we had, those of you who have watched me do live broadcasts in the Self-Sewn Wardrobe, you've seen me in my little, filming space.
In my own little corner, in my own little chair.
I can be a sewing blogger. There. Okay, yeah, okay. So
I can brush up the cinders. I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know how the rest of the song goes.
I don't know how the rest of that song goes.
None of you ever sang that song, but a lot of people did when you were growing up, yes.
So in that corner, we were trying to keep like stock and filming supplies, and that's where we would podcast, and that's where I do my live broadcast.
It made me crazy.
And it was crazy.
It made me crazy.
We're trying to not stock a lot of things, right? We're trying to get away from shipping a lot of physical products, and it was getting really hairy there. And I was like, you know what? We need to not have this filming equipment in the sewing studio, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I said, I want to find a way to put this in the other studio. So the old studio, right? It's a room adjacent to this one.
The original studio,
yes,
when we built this studio, turned into the home gym.
It turned into the home gym. And now it's slowly becoming our production studio.
So we have a production studio and a sewing studio. They're connected.
Yeah, so the production studio, and there's no like door, there's a doorway, but there's no door between them. The production studio is going to have like a little office space for me, for when I'm like doing all the web stuff and everything. Hopefully a place for Sam to put her stuff when she comes over here. It has paints and whatnot.
It does. It has other craft art type stuff.
Right, because that's something that we, do too.
And then it also has what we call the clubhouse.
Yes, that's not quite part of the, I wasn't planning on using that. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
And it has like the printer and stuff like that. So I said, we can get the filming area over there. The little spot where I need to sit.
It used to have my ballet bar and Mallory took it out.
Yeah, where I can sit and do Self-Sewn Wardrobe, right? When we do the live, the live broadcast. So that's why there haven't been a lot of live broadcasts lately, because the studio has been torn up. So first we wanted to move all of that into the other room, but we had to move another table first, and we had to get all that product toted up and all that jazz. So it says, tote up product on white shelves to sell. So I don't know if this sale has gone live yet, but
but start looking for some sales.
Start looking for some sales, okay, for some clearance stuff, and give us some time to ship it, okay? Organize, recycle, and store boxes. So we had been storing a lot of shipping boxes, right, that were no longer going to be used.
So many of those went to the recycle.
Yes, we recycled a lot of boxes. And then we reassigned the white shelves. We decided to use them as storage. And is this when we came up?
Who came up with the absolute most fantastic idea in the whole world about how to store our fabric that was on...
Wait. We're on shelves right now. Hold on. We're on the shelves.
No, I want to talk about my idea.
Okay,
go ahead. What shelves? What about the
shelves? You move the thread. When did we come up with that? That's the
No, I can't.
I
don't know. Which came first, Sam? my how to
The other
how to
amazing
file the
idea-
bolts or the moving the thread to the shelves.
It's kind of confusing now.
It's all a blur, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's because we went low sugar many days without
Yes, we
eating.
did. You need to stop and eat for lunch, everyone, while you're doing this. Okay, well, let's go to your super amazing, awesome idea.
But no, I mean, let's talk about the threads because it's the fastest to talk about.
Because look, I
So
put
we
that down
had-
here.
Okay,
I
but-
put that other thing
okay,
down
because
here.
we had the threads. I had all of the serger threads were on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was really the only threads that were on the wall.
Right, and they were on racks.
And
like
they were
thread
on
racks.
racks, and it was nice, and it was next to the serger. And I had embroidery thread was in a chest, and then construction thread was in like two big drawers that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And we started. I said, well, we have these shelves now, and this is the only tall wall. They need to go here. But what'll I do with my threads? Right.
Right.
That was sort of how it evolved. And we started putting the threads on the shelves,
Like on bookcases.
bookcase shelves. And it has saved us so much wall space.
It's crazy.
It was crazy. And we do lack wall space in the sense that
Mm-hmm.
we're over garage space.
Right.
So it's sort of an attic space. We have a shed dormer on the back where we have a straight wall.
Mhm.
But on the front, we still have the gabled,
Yeah, slanted
wall, which works well to put the sewing machines under and work on that wall as that kind of working space, except you could not put anything tall. Well, I think it's 4 feet high.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
But so you can't put any tall bookshelves there.
Right.
So we only have our end walls and the back wall, but we also have our stacks of fabric
Yes.
that take up a lot of wall space at one end.
So we featured how you store your serger thread in like the first issue of the zine, where you got
Right.
it on thread racks. You got shower curtains over it that you can hook up, like with they've got skirt hangers on the bottom, so it protects them from dust. And we were really liking this wall of thread, really. But then we found that when we just put them on the bookcases,
It took so much less
it
room.
took up the same amount of space as like one thread rack.
Well, and the other thing is we do have a plethora of thread.
Yeah.
We will work through some of that. Like right now, it looks like we have like maybe 8 to 10 spools of gold thread
Right.
because we brought thread that
From
had
the
been
shop.
used from the
Mhm.
shop. We had thread open here and thread open there. So there won't be 8 spools of gold. It'll get down to 4 or 5 spools of gold thread.
Right, right. No, that's very true. Okay, let's move on to Mom's super amazing, awesome
Okay.
idea.
So bolts of fabric, and I'm talking about on your long, not your flat bolts,
Your
Right.
long rolls.
your long rolled
That
bolts.
can be like 55 inches.
Right. They
tall,
can be
wide,
60 inches
yeah,
tall,
uh-huh.
right? Okay, so they can be 5 feet tall. And we have many bolts of fabric. I don't know if Sam wants to go over there and count them, but I'd say
she's
there's,
just
there's
jumping
what,
up. She's so
20-ish
excited.
over there maybe?
No, there's more than that.
There's more than that?
There's got to
30-ish?
be 35.
Okay.
Don't you think? Okay, she's going to go count them.
So, and only, there are bolts of fabric that we sell things to you, like our power mesh and the cotton organdy.
Uh-huh.
So there's some that is merchandise and some that is just for our own
fabric.
personal use.
Uh-huh.
Right. So I kept going through, how are we going to store these? And I looked on every place, Pinterest, Amazon. I looked how to store anything that was long and tubular.
Right.
Like Googled it and everything. How many bolts, Sam?
63.
What?
Oh my
That's
gosh.
counting the ones I couldn't see behind.
She
that.
said 63 and I said 20.
I said 35.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
still-
So that's just our long bolts, guys. That's
Yeah.
not a flat bolt. That's just a long
That's
bolt.
long bolts.
And that's not what we have in what we call our stacks, either where we have sushi rolled it
Uh-huh.
and have it on shelves. Okay. Jeez. Okay. So anyway, I kept trying to think through this and and then I went down and looked at our garden tools. How do we store them? Well, they're in these barrels. And my husband and I talked about these barrels. And he said, I think I have some other barrels. And we looked at the other barrels. Well, they were really cruddy. We would have to buy new barrels. Well, maybe we should put them in like big plastic trash cans but then we would have to weight the bottom because the problem is
They get
you
top
want
heavy.
right. And you want to make sure you want the sides to be straight up. Right. so that, they're not leaning. They stand straight up. So I don't know where I had this epiphany, but it was a good one. So I came up to Sam and Mallory, whatever the next morning was, and I said, I've got two choices for you. We can do this trash can thing and weight them. We'll put, a cinder block in the bottom or something.
And we got cinder blocks.
And we do have those.
We're cinder block rich.
Yes, we are cinder block wealthy. So we can do that. Or my thought is to take this wooden antique file cabinet we had that my husband had decided was not worth restoring. It had some issues, right? It had been abused pretty badly. And we lay it on its back and take the drawers out. And then we have these sections that will hold up bolts.
And boy.
And Sam and Mallory jumped up and down and screamed. And we ran out of the house and ran down to look at the file cabinet.
Which has been sitting in our breezeway for...
Well, just a couple days. It hasn't been very long.
No. Before
you mean before we looked at it?
Excuse me.
Yeah, right. Oh. I thought you meant when we started deciding.
Years.
Well, no, it was in the garage for a while.
Okay, it's been around. So it's your
been
father's?
It was my father's, who, if he was still alive, would be 94-ish, I guess, right now.
Was he born in 25?
He was born in 25, yes.
Yeah, so he would be
93 right now, right?
On August.
Yes, there you go.
When was his birthday?
September 10th.
It was September 10th, not...
So... I remember this file cabinet when I was a small child. I would say 10, 12 years old, and it was in his office.
Yeah, so it's this hardwood file cabinet.
So it's at least 55 years old minimum.
Right. And it's awesome. It really isn't.
It's got little brass tabs on it. One says Wabash.
Yep. And we hosed it off. Mom scrubbed it a little bit. She started sanding it, and then I finished sanding it and put some tongue oil on it.
We tongue oiled it, yes.
New to me, this...
New process for Mallory.
Okay, except I took a picture of the bottle, because that tongue oil might have been
The tongue oil was pretty old, too.
Yes.
I probably had a price tag on it and no barcode.
I think maybe the label was kind of culturally offensive.
Was it?
Yeah, so it's pretty old, okay? But yeah, we were really making old things new again, and it really has made the bolts. They're beautiful.
Oh, it's amazing.
Beautiful.
So maybe that will be one of the pics we put on this podcast.
I have a lot of pictures of doing the file cabinet, too.
Right.
And you and Sam make fun of me for being take a picture of this, take a picture of this. And you're like, oh, here's one thing. And everybody wants to see
this
them.
has been an absolute... Now... What I want you to know is you can put flat bolts in that, too, the same way, and stand them up if you'd like.
Yes, so...
Now, standing up fabric on flat bolts, I don't think is the best idea.
Uh-huh.
If it's done for a really, really long time. It just depends. You don't want them to scrunch down.
But we don't really have another choice.
No, well...
For what we're doing.
And the way, this is a miraculous way to store it for us. What you really should do is occasionally go over and turn these bolts onto the other end.
Yeah.
That's what should happen.
All right.
But they get plenty of air. They stand up. They're not slouching.
Mm-hmm.
We can see them. Look, doesn't it look like a little crowd of bolts
that
are watching us? Our audience.
They're going.
It's like our audience. There's sequins. There's lace. There's all kinds of stuff over there. Satin, silk.
That revelation, though, was going to be great because there were bolts all over the studio, right?
What had happened is we had bolts in 4 or 5 places.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
All these different corners of the studio, and they were sometimes in short trash cans that would fall over while you weren't even around, or I was working, and then it would just be and they would fall down. So
we're really
nice.
Proud of that.
Yes.
That turned out really nice.
Well, let's take a little break and then come back and talk about the next dance moves in the choreography and talk about a few of the things that have not been done yet, but that we will get on.
Hey, Mal.
Hey, Mom.
I heard you were easy.
Oh, no!
What does that mean?
No, it means I think what you really heard was, wow, Mallory, your easy tee looks so good on you.
Oh,
yes.
I should have known that it was something about something you made.
Like you said, you're getting into your golden years. Sometimes mishearing things. It happens.
No, you're
right?
the one that mishears things. I know this. You make lapel pins about it.
Okay, so I am currently wearing an Easy Tee, and I wear them all the time. The Easy Tee is a semi-fitted, short-sleeve T-shirt made out of a woven fabric, and you draft the Easy Tee to fit your measurements by taking the Easy Tee class.
Well, how do I take this class?
It's an online class that you can watch anytime on SewHere.com. To purchase the class, go to SewHere.com/EasyT. That's just EASYT.
Is this on my computer?
It's on your computer. It's on your phone. It's on your iPad. The class is divided up into short, easily consumable segments, some of which you may not ever need to watch ever again, but some of which you might want to revisit. So you have the ability to mark lessons as completed and also to star lessons so you can go back and revisit the ones that are most important to you.
And I can vouch, Mallory's Easy Tee is a lot easier than Mallory is.
Once again, go to SewHere.com/EasyT to begin your pattern drafting journey. Sewing out loud. All right, and we're back. So we redid our pressing area a little bit.
Well, we changed it.
Yes. It was kind of, we had made like a little bit of a hole around the sergers and the ironing board
I think
and stuff.
part of what we've done with, corralling the bolts and doing some things is we have cleared up our floor space because we had so many things sitting on the floor that we were moving around and trying to decide what to do with. And it was, I'm sure you've seen some pictures of Mallory and I in the mirror where there was just a bunch of junk behind us.
Right.
And it was because we were really trying to get this done. Yet we're working at the same time. It wasn't like you could take a month and
No,
and
it
clean
would have
it
been
out.
nice to put a pause button on, but it
Right.
was really a slog, and having to move things around, was really like getting in the way,
Right.
know. So we did.
It was driving me crazy. Mallory didn't mind it at all.
We did an episode on like sharing your space with other
Right.
people and doing those totes and stuff, and that was good.
Right.
That's been a nice thing to do in the process, but it's been difficult to get to some of the other materials. So we redid our pressing area. The ironing board is over by those bolts now. It's where I used to
Right.
film.
And
record.
one place that we actually have those bolts too is very away from light,
Yeah.
which is good. You don't want your fabric in the light. So, no light hits there. And it's sort of a dark corner, which is fine.
So we said, on our choreography, okay, it says put all filming stuff and lights in other room. We hadn't named it the production studio yet, but, there you go. So we did that, and we thought that we would set up a filming area in the production studio.
Right.
With just like a nice background. We would maybe move things in there. It would be a good place to photograph our
That we
outfits.
just have a drape behind it or something like that.
But then we start moving all this stuff around and making it beautiful in here. And we decided we actually are going to do filming and photography in the studio, but we won't have to store anything
Right.
in here. So we will still be filming like our online classes and stuff here in the studio, I believe, for the most part.
Right.
But being able to take out
We're not
lights.
going to have that sterile place to photograph like we thought we were going. Now it's going to be truly in our working
Yeah,
studio because there's floor space.
Yeah, floor space, and there's it's gonna be like a background of pretty
Right,
threads,
right.
and it'll be great. So I'm excited about doing that. The other thing that I have on the list that has not been done yet is I want a phone charging station / drink bar. Okay.
Oh my God.
I
didn't know this was on the list.
I want there to be a spot where when we come in and we have a Coke or we have a water bottle or something, it goes there.
Yeah, it's a very good idea.
Okay. I didn't get that from your original reaction.
That we put our phone there and we know where it is.
We put our phone there and there are chargers there.
And we know where our phone is.
Yes, and we know where our phones are.
We don't have to call each other's phone all the time.
No. So that is kind of an issue because we come in, maybe we'll start to talk and we'll, have things on the cutting table or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
And Sam and Mallory hide my phone from me.
Yeah, we hide it in your bra, right? Mom can't find it. She can't find it. Oh, maybe it's in your bra. Oh, Okay.
But it's a safe place.
So I think maybe that shelf over there might be a good spot.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up precious real estate that can be used for actually, storing stuff, but we bring our phones up for photography.
Right.
You need to have drinks. You need to stop and take drinks. Okay. You need to have your drinks in your sealed bottles or whatever. You need to stay hydrated while you are sewing, but you don't
Our
want to have
vodka
that
is
stuff.
in a spray bottle.
Yes.
By the pressing area.
iron.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay. We did do a little bit of shuffling, but I would say that here, where we go. Oh, filming stuff and lights into other rooms. We've done that. We hung a cabinet there. There was a cabinet that was in the kitchen of the shop, of the store.
That cabinet.
How old is that cabinet?
Well, I know it's older than you.
Okay.
And that cabinet I bought, it was a mistake. Somebody had it made and it was a mistake. That's why the shelves don't move. And I bought that cabinet, I would say, I don't think Lindsay was born. So Lindsay's 35. And those cabinets hung in our mud room in Chesterfield, if you don't remember. And I took them out and we brought them here. Then.
Wait, okay. So Chesterfield is a suburb of St. Louis, Missouri, where we used to live. Long ago, we moved here when I was about 5. So this cabinet has been moved from Chesterfield to Columbia, Missouri.
Right.
And where did it hang first in this house?
Well, there's a set of 2. I don't know if you know. There's a matching one in the garage. Mm-hmm. And that one did hang up here.
Okay.
Okay, in my first studio. Right? Then we took it down and I painted it and put it in the kitchen.
Right.
Right? And then we took it out of the kitchen and I painted it again to take to the shop. Right.
So then it hung in the shop.
Yeah, and I painted it white. So thank God when we brought it back, I didn't have to paint it again. Because it went from this deep, maroon red to white. I had to paint it right.
So it was in the garage, not hung up, just sitting in the garage for 15 months or something. So then it came up and it has been hung up and all is well in the universe now.
Have you even put anything in it?
No,
I don't know.
It's beautifully bare.
Yeah.
It's full of possibility.
But my ballet bar is gone. But anyway.
Full of possibility there. So we got that cabinet hung up. So that is going to be a place where I can store drawings, these microphones.
Yes.
Because we actually don't have our traditional podcasting spot yet.
Yeah, we haven't figured out where we're really right now we're podcasting off of the cutting table.
And I would really like us to have a space. I don't know if I need the microphones set up all the time because it's not really that hard to set them up.
No, they're not.
And it's nice to keep them safe too. To keep them put away because they are, nice microphones and everything like that. But that is where I plan on storing some of that stuff. So we changed around, a few other things, and we still have some drawers that are empty.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but the most amazing thing in this whole thing is that we thought up the file cabinet thing.
Mom, that was all you.
Just
own it. Okay?
It is just so.
It was all you.
But it's just so good.
Amazing.
Well, and taking that thread off the wall, I couldn't believe the difference
I think that
it made.
taking the thread up, because there's still shelf space over there that we have not filled yet. Okay, and so there was also some piles over here in this area of the studio that were kind of things that got moved and we didn't know what to do with them, and there was some lycra scraps and things like that, and that has all been cleaned up. And the tables that our sewing machines are on are pretty much clear right now.
Everything's clear and neat and you can see stuff.
We have a bin behind a sewing machine that says repairs and alterations.
Right.
I like that.
Because, you've got to have a space for that stuff.
Or even
here's another idea. Put a note on what the alteration's supposed to be.
Oh.
So that when you don't do it and then you find it 6 months later, you don't have to go back to your husband and go, so these bike pants,
was
I shortening them or repadding them or and he's like, those are mine. I mean, so really I didn't have to ask at all. But
you could have just put those back in his drawer or something.
That's right. Would have never known.
So do we need to have little work order slips up here?
Well, I just think even if it's something the size of the Post-it note that you safety pin to the garment.
We do.
Do you know what I mean?
And we have.
You might want to put the date on it so you know how long it was, and then sometimes you don't have to fix it because the person's grown out of it.
Yeah,
that happens too.
We have labeled many things, right? With the label maker.
Everything needs to be labeled. Mm-hmm. Everything in your especially if you have anything that even approaches the size of ours. Everything needs to be labeled. Even if you don't have multiple people working in it, it needs to be labeled. Even the trash cans. Is this the trash can that sits by the cutting table? Is this the trash can that sits by the serger?
We labeled
All
our
of
magnetic
those
pin
things.
dishes.
We labeled our magnetic pin dishes because you might only have one. We have what, 6, 4,
Well,
6?
who
I don't know.
knows how many we have.
But this one goes next to the Destiny. This
63.
one goes next to the 63. Obviously, we underestimate. This pincushion is by the Ovation, so that if somebody carries it over to the cutting table, at least it'll get back. So the next person that sits at the Ovation has pins.
Right. No, that pin cushions, I think they can get carried around.
They travel.
And that's okay.
Right.
Because the other day I did that, and then I was like leaving the studio, and I knew where to put
Some
it.
people keep one on their ironing board or their pressing table or whatever.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, so the new studio has more floor space because we got lots of fabric up.
So
and organized.
Noah could come back now and he could talk about our studio because I made it.
Noah definitely would have a before
I
and
told him
after.
he could not speak of what it looked like when he was here. I told him he could not mention this. I wanted to make him sign a contract. I didn't.
NDA.
Yeah.
We signed an NDA recently.
Yes, we did.
And I almost forgot.
And almost said something.
No, I just forgot about it. I was
forgot that it existed.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Yep.
Anyway.
News to come.
Yep. So that'll
all
be the
those
next few
non-disclosures we signed will become open.
Disclosed. Unclassified.
Unclassified.
Yes. So getting that fabric, those bolts though, was
I know.
Was great.
It looks like we have an audience of
more
bolts.
Floor space. The floor space, having some blank floor is great.
I liked floor space at one time, especially with costuming, because I would use the floor as sometimes an area to lay things out or just decide things, or I would use the floor, or sometimes to roll fabric out and check, do I have enough or whatever.
Right. So you wouldn't really use the floor as a cutting surface because you had a big cutting table, but still. Because there are people who they don't have as nice of a cutting surface or something. But so having that blank floor was great. And then it was great recently, too, for our purposes because I made a shirt and I wanted to photograph it. And having that blank space was great. And I want to say there's this lingerie. She's a designer and she does patterns. Her name's Evie Lalouve, I think is how you say her name. And she's just kind of blown up recently. She makes cute stuff and takes beautiful pictures and, and has kind of done some things with TaylorMade Shop, who sponsored the podcast before, And so she just got a studio and is setting up this space to hold workshops and things. And I looked at her studio and I got a little envious because she's very focused on lingerie sewing. Okay. A specific kind.
Right.
I don't think a lot of her bras have underwires on them, but they will have findings and stuff. And lace, panties, and all this stuff. So it's this very compartmentalized part of sewing, and she gets to have this really specialized space.
Right.
So it's she gets to have a wall of maybe there are 12 different types of elastic for lingerie sewing, right? And then she gets to have these cute little jars with all of her rose gold findings in them, and she spray painted, the shelves to put just a couple of things on,
right?
And it looks beautiful. And I'm not, I don't mean to sound catty or anything, but I'm jealous a little bit because she gets to have that.
Well, we do not have what is called a showcase studio.
No,
we have a very, very working, functional studio.
And I was well, we can't have a showcase studio. We don't want to have a showcase studio. We go in and we do so many things. You're making dog beds and aerial costumes and gosh, what? And I'm going to make
bras and underwear.
Yes, and bras. We have the 20 types of lingerie elastic along with our however many other types of other elastic. But her studio's beautiful, and you can see it on Instagram. But I thought, okay, what if we, out there on the back 40, okay?
Well,
We could have a
yeah.
lingerie building. We could have a village, a wardrobe village.
Yeah.
Okay, you go here to make.
Go ahead, Mallory.
You go into this building to make jeans, and you go into this building to make button-up shirts. It's like I don't know, the Disney World of
The
sewing
Disney World
clothes.
of sewing, yes.
Maybe there's a trolley that takes.
It's like that
you
furniture store where they have the 5 different stores, but they're all attached, and one is just bedding, and one is just dining rooms, and one is just living rooms. And,
I know a lot of people will be shocked to hear this, but we've never been to Hamilton, Missouri.
We've
where
not.
Missouri Star Quilting is, and apparently they have though a building of Christmas fabric,
right?
And a building. Okay, so maybe this is our goal. We'll have a building of denim. For making jeans. You don't look super psyched.
Go right ahead. She can go with it all she wants.
A building of, beaded lace. Okay. A building of this. And then, they can all, but the studio is looking really beautiful. I just do sometimes, wish that we had some, super specialized. We'll only develop patterns for this one thing.
Only make one thing.
Yeah, we'll only make this one
That's
type
not
of
going to
thing.
happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. We can't do that. We're too diverse. I can't do that. I can't make just one thing.
Yeah. We have plans to do a little bit of decorating in here, don't we? We think we want to put some wallpaper.
We're going to try and make it sort of cheery and not so bland, I guess.
We like white.
Well, we have a lot of white because and all fabric. The best thing to put your fabric against to tell what color it is put it against white.
Right.
If you have pink walls, all your fabric is going to have a pink tinge.
Well,
okay?
I did, a little interview with Evie Hawkins, and I said, do you have some pink lights or something? She goes, oh, no, there's pink felt over the windows.
Right.
And it really did. It gave this pink cast to everything. And she, she says it's not like that all the time.
Right.
But that does cross my mind, but we want to do a couple cute little things with the walls. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll have it done by the time this podcast comes out. I don't know, but
15 months.
Yes, 15 months later, and we've put some final wallpaper on the walls of our studio.
Well, I hope everybody got someone got something out of this and organizing and what you can do. And I think the other thing you need to think of is sometimes we're going, oh, is this the right thing to do, or is that the right thing to do? And then one of us would say, we can always change it.
Yes.
And that is where I encourage people not to build in shelving and not to build in sewing surfaces to make them movable. Some people think, oh, I'll build in this cabinetry and then my sewing can sit on, this countertop. And sometimes what you sew may change or how you sew may change. When I was doing bridal, my studio had to be scrupulously clean and I had to have big surfaces everywhere.
Right.
So things change.
Also, so everything's movable in here. The one thing we didn't mention, which I think we should, is that we had some air vents that were going to be blocked.
Right.
By those bookcases.
That's right.
And the vents, they're along the sides of the studio.
Right.
Like, what else can we do, right?
Right.
And that's where we're going to put stuff. And Jerry built boxes.
Right.
To go over.
They're basically sort of on stilts, I guess.
Right.
Or, a
and
frame.
It's made a huge difference.
In our ventilation.
In temperature here. And so that is something you can do, or you can,
right.
You can build a little plywood box to go over your air vent.
So you want a 3-sided box so that it's just coming out one way. And we did have them sort of where they could expel before, but it just wasn't adequate. And this box is it's like the height of a 2x4, so it's really like 3.5 inches, high. So it gives you enough room for the air to move out.
Right. Enough room
and not
for
get trapped.
Right. It's not getting trapped under the Target bookcase. So I thought that was really good. And so, Mom, you said you can always change it.
Yes.
And that's good to keep in mind. And also, writing down your choreography writing down your plans.
It really did help.
They can change too,
Yes.
right? They can change.
Yes.
And also, there's another thing we don't have done on here other than the bar, okay? We have a couple things that we want to do command hooks for,
Yes.
And it's not that I've, forgotten that we wanted to do that, but it's good to look at the list and say, oh, next time
Right.
I've got some time, we're going to, put up those pressing cloths and
Right.
we're going to find a place for the embroidery hoops and stuff like that. So we just have this list until...
And the command hooks are, just excellent.
Right.
Because they can be moved and changed and put on your sewing furniture. And they, as far as I know, it's never scarred any of ours.
Yeah, I think it took some drywall off of something of ours.
Now,
one
it
time.
does take the paper off the drywall.
paper
You have
off
to
the
be
drywall.
careful about
Yeah.
that, especially when there's only 1 or 2 layers of paint on that drywall.
Mhm.
I don't put them on drywall.
Yeah.
I put them on more of a hard, slick surface.
Hard surface.
Yeah.
So keep your choreography at the ready while you are redoing your studio. And then maybe if somebody's helping you, they can do certain steps of it while you're gone, right?
That would be
Mom?
true.
Yeah. Like when Sam and I
Yes.
moved the table out.
That's
Wasn't
right.
that wonderful? Did you feel like you had fairies in here?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's how you feel all the time, right?
And they took my ballet bar away.
You couldn't get to it before.
I know.
Okay.
I
There
hadn't
was
gotten
another-
hadn't gotten to it for 15 months. So.
I think that you're doing enough ballet in
You think I
the
get my
air,
leg up in the air
the
enough?
air.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
That you don't need it.
Okay.
Where you're going.
I
we
do.
Don't
I
need
do
bars.
almost every day. Go to a ballet bar anyway.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. We thought we'd give you a little insight into the studio redo. I hope that this is actually one of our blog posts or zine articles here. And then also,
And I hope it's helpful to you.
if you go to the Self-Sewn Wardrobe group and search for Fred Berry. Okay, Fred, like the name Fred,
like Fred Flintstone, only
and
it's Fred
Berry is
and Berry.
Berry. Fred did a redo of a very small space.
She had a really tiny little mud room or laundry room or something, and she did an excellent job.
Yeah, it was like a little utility room.
Right.
She definitely posted a very honest before and asked for tips and things like that, and she did it, and it was really cool to see.
The best thing about that is she has a place she can leave things out. She has small children. She can shut the door.
Right, because we know that some things have happened to her sewing
Yes,
supplies.
and we wouldn't want any more of her sewing supplies to go to the toaster oven.
Toaster oven or the cat litter.
Right.
Okay, we want them to be safe, and we want your kids to be safe too. But it's funny how much damage, right? Gets inflicted
Doesn't
by
take
the
very
children,
long.
right? Okay.
Right.
All right. So thank you all for listening. We hope it helped, and there will be lots of pictures to go along with this. And you can find us on Instagram at Zede Sewing Studio. You can email me at Mallory@sewhere.com.
So long and so happy.
Thanks for listening to Sewing Out Loud. For even more expert sewing advice, visit sewhere.com.